Welcome, everyone. We'll start this meeting for Wednesday, July 15th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. for Lennox and Addington County Council. So the first is adoption of the minutes. Could I have a mover for the adoption of the minutes? Councillor Fritsch, so moved, seconded by Councillor Richardson. All in favor? Motion has passed. Next is disclosure of pecuniary approval of the agenda. That's it. Could I have a mover? Councillor Hook, seconded by Councillor Calver. All in favor? Motion is passed. And now I'll ask if there's any disclosure of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof for this evening's meeting. Seeing none. The next item is the warden's report. It's attached to it there. Are there any questions or anything with that report? Seeing none, could I get a mover to receive the report? Councillor Davison, so moved, seconded by Councillor Calver. All in favor? Motion is passed. The next item is tree removal in clear zones. Look to the director.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Warden. Through you. So as directed by council, staff completed a further review of the trees that were identified within the clear zone on County Road 41 and on County Road 9. Additionally, staff engaged two engineering firms to also complete a safety analysis and look at options to preserve the trees. These reports considered options such as warning signs, regulatory signage, traffic calming, protection barriers, and even roadway realignments. The reports included benefits and concerns with each option, as well as potential costs. Staff also included an example of a municipality where they decided to use the lower clear zone, or I guess the lowest clear zone distance of 3 meters in order to preserve the trees along their road. And if I can refer council to the updated chart that was included in the meeting, you'll see under the guide rail install, which was presented at last month's meeting, the trees in green text, they're the ones that guide rail can be safely installed at and meeting installation requirements. And then if you look at the from edge of lane column, the trees that are highlighted in green are the trees that should council decide to look at that 3 meter clear zone distance. Those are the trees that would fall in that category. And I'd just like to point out that only 2 of the 9 trees that are in that grove on County Road 9 would remain if that was council decision. So ultimately that grove or the drive-through experience would still be lost. So other than realigning the roadway or removing the trees on County Road 9, there's no other options that improve safety and reduce liability from the county. As per the Municipal Act, the county has a duty of care to keep the roads in a reasonable state of repair. Failure to remove or properly or deal with hazards exposes the public to danger and opens the county to legal consequences. Staff's recommendation to remove the trees from last month's council is based on engineering standards that are used by municipalities across Ontario and Canada. These guidelines are not legally binding, so council can go outside of them. However, they are used by courts and expert witnesses as evidence of the accepted standards of engineering practice. In short, municipality can deviate from TAC, but they need like a reason for the deviation, and it needs to be well documented and supported by engineering rationale. Courts will look at whether the municipality acted reasonably, whether the design reflected engineering standards, and whether the risks were foreseeable, and whether the municipality has a rational base for the design decision. Now that we're aware of the hazards, and we've spoken about it at a couple council meetings. Council needs to make a decision based on the recommendation from our engineers and our insurance provider. Staff are looking for direction from county council, and I'd be happy to answer any questions should council have any.
Thank you. Are there any questions this evening for the director? Councilor Richardson.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Warren. I'm going to start with a question. In your report, Chris, on the near the end of it, it says, from our insurer provider, while the concerns raised by residents are understood, public safety and legal responsibility must take precedence. Once a tree has been identified as a collision hazard within the clear zone, removal is not discretionary. It is prudent and defensible risk management action. To start with, who did that come from, and what piece of legislation or what piece of literature have we received? Is that in that, or is that something that we've received subsequent to our last meeting?
That's what was received in your last meeting, and and it's included in this meeting's this report as well. That came directly from our insurance provider.
Okay, and we have the information on the insurance provider, which was included in our documents then.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, and now, what's the authority for not being for removal is not discretionary? I mean, obviously, we've got a number of options. One is to accept and absorb the liability and the safety issues by just doing nothing. So, what's the authority for the fact that if the trees are in the clear zone, they have to be removed?
I don't know the answer to that question. I have reached out to our insurance provider. The way I understood that, or potential to that, is if there's an accident, so the engineers have identified them, staff have identified them as hazards, insurance provider has recommended options. So if they can't be protected, and I guess removal is technically the first option that you look at, but if you want to look at environmental factors, you could install guide rail. But if guide rail can't be properly installed, like with it to meet its standards, if an incident were to occur there, I'm trying to seek clarification on whether or not the county would still be protected through the insurance provider. I don't know if the insurance provider can say, we've told you that they need to be addressed. If they're not properly addressed, we're not protecting you for that incident. So I'm not clear on that as well, Councillor Richardson.
No, I agree, and I appreciate that, Chris. Which you've led me very nicely into my next question or statement, so I thank you for that. Is we'll get into the signage issue. Is that it would be nice to know. Common sense would dictate that if you put stop signs on both sides of these trees, that it would reduce the liability, and it would also increase the safety issue. Because if you have to come to a stop, and we're talking approximately 100 meters to travel through there, that would have to increase the safety issue and reduce the liability. So I guess I take a little bit of exception to the part of the report where it talks about signage, because I appreciate some signs. I mean, we to back up a little bit, we've got a couple of different types of signs. We've got regulatory signs and we've got advisory signs. Stop signs would be a regulatory sign, which there are hundreds of thousands of stop signs in this country that people stop at because they have to. And if they don't stop at it, they become liable for what happens after that, I would suggest, because we see it in motor vehicle collisions every day in intersections where if you don't stop at a stop sign and you go through the intersection and you hit something, you hit another car, you hit a person, all of a sudden the liability becomes yours, not the municipality. So I take a little exception to the fact that I don't think we've put enough weight or attention onto the fact that I think there are other options with respect to the signage that I think we could take a look at and at least on a trial basis to examine. There's a number of things that we could do. We put cameras out there just to establish what's going on if people are stopping at those signs or not stopping at those signs. So I guess my personal opinion is that I don't think we've done enough, and I do think that there are other options, as I had said at a previous meeting, that, that
Let him finish his statement, please.
that would reduce liability and increase safety. So thank you, Mr. Warden, and I'll leave it at that for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? Director, did you want to address something?
Yes, if I can,
Yes,
through
please.
you, Mr. Warden. Just for clarification, that was looked at in the one engineer's report. Stop signs are not used for that purpose. They're not meant to control speed. I'm not aware of any other road in the province or anywhere where there's just a stop sign in the middle of the road that's not an intersection or to look at traffic. In fact, having a stop sign there, based on the studies and the opinion, people will ignore that stop sign. They may even cause to start ignoring other stop signs in the area. They may even
Please. We need some decorum.
They may even startle individual driving who's not aware of a stop sign and all of a sudden slam on the brake and actually diverting into the trees as a result of the stop sign. So a stop sign to me, I would look at other signage if that was council's direction rather than a stop sign. That would be one of the least recommended alternatives.
Thank you. Councillor Hook, did you have your hand up?
Yes, through you to Mr. Horton. I like the idea what Councillor Richardson's talking about. And at home I was thinking about how do you, speed is a problem. How can we slow the vehicles down? And when you think of a school zone, they use the speed bumps or speed humps. And with proper signage, speed bumps ahead on both sides, and you put a series of those in, that's going to slow people down. That's what we want to do, is slow it down. And maybe in conjunction with some guardrails, maybe something could be worked out that way, but I don't know why that wouldn't work. It just seems a simple idea, but anyways.
Thank you. Did you have anything to add with that, Director?
Yes, again, through you, Mr. Warden. That was also looked at in the engineer's report. Similar to the speed signs, typically speed bumps are in urban areas, and drivers would not expect those to occur in that instance. And again, could cause an accident just for the installation of the speed bumps. I know from installation practice with winter control, it would only be seasonal anyway. It'd be during the summertime, and we'd have to remove them in the winter months, so they're only present for half the year. Again, if council's looking at other options to preserve those trees would still be in the clear zone, regardless of what traffic measure or sign we put up. But there would be other signage that could be put up that would still be as effective as speed bumps.
Thank you. Councillor Calver.
Thank you, through your warden. Chris, you mentioned speed bumps would have to come out. City of Kingston's got quite a few streets with speed bumps, and they don't take them out in the wintertime. They're quite a size speed bump. The plow goes up over them, but anyways, that's here and there. I come in today, travel County Road 9, come around a corner, there's a stoplight. I stopped. No big deal. I've never seen a stoplight there before in my life. I've only traveled that road for 32 years. Never seen a stoplight there, but I stopped, and every other car stopped as well. Coming home, same thing. I come around another corner and stoplight. I stopped. They're replacing culverts on County Road 9. I didn't hear of a single accident. They've been working a couple of days now replacing culverts. I haven't heard of a single accident because all of a sudden there's a stoplight there. people know stoplights mean stop. Stop sign means stop. Are you gonna get people run the stop sign? Probably, absolutely. No doubt in my mind. When you run a stop sign or a stoplight and you have an accident or you cause an accident, you are 100% at fault. Plus, it's very expensive on your insurance. So will people stop? I believe 98%, 99% will stop. It's illegal to drink and drive, but they arrest people every day for it. I'd like to give the stop signs a fair shake. The speed bump issue, I understand where you're going with the plowing, but I'd like to at least give it a shot to see what it would look like, what it would work. And if you put, big signs up warning, new stop signs ahead, hell, it's never been done in Ontario, but we could be the first. There's nothing wrong with being the first at something. And that's just all I got to say. I've kicked this around 85 ways from Sunday. I understand the distances, I get that. But I can't see why we can't try something before we bring out the chainsaws. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Councillor Ellis.
Thank you, through the chair. When I read the reports, the engineering reports that were attached as well, am I missing something? But you're telling us that signage doesn't take any of our liability away.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Councillor Davison.
Yeah, I think we're all talking about a very touchy subject, and we can see that by the occasional interruption. Nobody wants to cut a tree, but nobody wants to be sued. And my experience with new road construction is people drive faster, not slower. Once the road's been improved, they forget what the speed limit is. So I don't believe that we can calm the traffic that way. I don't understand how a simple sign's gonna calm it on a straight road. So I think we're still back at the clear zone.
Thank you. Any other members of council? Any questions or comments? Councillor Fritz.
Yes, through Mr. Warden. Just have one comment, and I know it is a very sensitive subject because I think there's no one in the room that doesn't want to preserve trees. But it's the habits of drivers that I see every day where they don't believe in anything on the road, essentially. Double lines, they'll pass anywhere, pass on hills, do this, do that. Like, driver behavior today is it's just not obedient in terms of speed limits, where you can pass or what you can do. So I do struggle with believing that we're begging them to slow down through signage, so to speak, but I very much struggle believing that they would actually comply with that and that it will solve the problem. Anyway, that's just my perspective.
Thank you. Any other? Councillor Richardson.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Warden. As with Councillor Deputy Warden Fritz, I struggle with the fact that we're assuming that people aren't going to follow the law. And we understand and we know that that happens every day. But my goodness gracious, stop signs are regulatory signs that are not designed to do anything but to control traffic. That's why we put them at intersections. That's why we put them at the ends of roads. And so that's what they're designed to do. And if we live our lives and go about life thinking that a stop sign's not going to work, well, why don't we just take every stop sign out? Do we need them on intersections then? If nobody's going to stop an intersection, why do we put them at intersections? It just doesn't make sense. And so to take the leap that some may want to take this evening by saying, they're not going to stop at the stop signs anyway, why would we even put it there? It makes absolutely no sense. And to not at least attempt to put a traffic regulating device on an area that we've identified could be hazardous is just ludicrous. Why not try it? Do the trial period, put it out there, put the cameras out there, you put the signs up 50 yards away saying a new stop sign. I've seen them in many places. I've traveled many places in this continent where all of a sudden you see a sign that has a light on it that says a new stop sign ahead, because they've decided to put a traffic regulating device on a road that didn't exist before. And so that's what we're asking to do this evening, is to put a device like that on an area or in an area that we all understand that it could cause a dangerous situation. And I'd have to think, and I would love to ask the question of our insurance provider, that, and I can't imagine how they couldn't say that by putting a device that controls the traffic at an area like that has to reduce liability and it has to increase safety. And so, I mean, if we want to consider doing absolutely nothing, I think that would be reckless of us to do nothing. I really do. So what we're trying to do here is to find some sort of a resolution that we at least give it a go and try. And so I'd be willing to make that by way of motion, Mr. Warden, but I'll also respect the chair and let him decide when you're ready for that.
Yeah, we'll call for a motion as soon as the discussion is done. Councillor Lalonde, or sorry, alternate Lalonde.
I'm kind of new to this discussion. I did take the privilege of calling a second opinion, a second arborist, just to round out that conversation and get their opinion. They were very familiar with the project and they live in the area. I'm all about compromise, actually, and one of several things that he pointed out, because he was familiar with the trees, and he said most of them are at end of life. A few of them were healthy. Some were in decline. Those that are in decline won't recover. He said they didn't have a big full crown, especially in the hot weather that we're seeing right now. They're going to be suffering even more. And so I guess what I'm saying, is there a compromise to be had here where you cut down the trees that are in decline, the ones that are at end of life, and leave the ones that are healthy, the ones that are have a lot of life left in them, and then provide the extra assurance by using some traffic calming efforts? So that's what I would like to see. I know with the high winds we've been experiencing, you're going to take a tree that's at end of life or in some decline, and you're going to be having branches falling across because of the winds sweeping through some of those open canopies. I would hate to see not just the car accidents that we're talking about here, but also trees falling across the road and hitting traffic coming on. So identify those that are at risk and remove them, and then calm the traffic for the remaining ones that are still healthy.
Councillor Fritz?
I have one more comment. My question really relates back to signage, and we were talking about stop signs. But in terms of liability, and I don't know, Chris, if you can answer this question or not, our liability if we had speed reduction signs, reduced the speed limit in that area drastically, versus having a stop sign, having speed reduction, whether people comply or not, is it sort of the same risk or degree of liability regardless of whether we had stop signs or a speed reduction sign?
Director?
Yes, through you, Mr. Warden. So again, stop signs are not used for that purpose, to control speeds. So you stop, like, when do you go? That's another question too. So using a stop sign does not remove any liability whatsoever, or in my opinion, really improve safety at that location. Reducing the speed limit, like say posting it at a 40 kilometer an hour or 50 kilometer an hour, that is a regulatory sign that is used to control speed, and that would not remove any liability. It would marginally improve safety because some traffic would slow down, but it's still, that hazard still exists within the clear zone. But reducing the speed limit, in my opinion, again, it still has minor improvements, but the liability risks are still there with the municipality as far as insurance implications. But there is a marginal increase in safety with the reduction of with a reduced speed, should we record those speeds. But again, going back into the whole design speed versus posted speed, we collect data on our roads, and design speed, or the clear zone distance, is defined by the operating speed, which is the 85th percentile of traffic, and we take that and it goes to the nearest 10th. So if it's you have to round it up to the nearest 10th. So let's say it's even at a posted 50, the design speed might come in around 70 if people aren't really slowing down. Those trees are still within that clear zone with that distance and still have the hazard. An argument could be made that should there an incident occur, that council's not liable. The county may still be liable, but staff and council wouldn't be liable because they made an engineering decision and there was a rationale to lower speed there. But again, you're looking at that grove of trees is the real issue and problem because they are so close to the road. There's still a huge risk there.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, oh, sorry, I left microphone on during that discussion. Anyway, I just want to close out that question. So yeah, thank you, Chris. That answers my question. So using a speed reduction sign, what I understand is it's a legitimate use of a speed reduction sign. You're not using it for, I don't believe you're not using it for the wrong reason. And you may correct me on that. Whereas a speed sign, a stop sign, you would be using it for the wrong reason because you really don't have a reason to use it other than we're experimenting with something. So if you used a speed reduction sign and you monitored it, possibly with cameras on a trial basis, that there would be an opportunity to see whether drivers actually comply with it. And if we are, even if we're reducing the hazard marginally, we're reducing it in the right direction. It may be a compromise, something to try out. Thank you.
Director?
Again, yes, through you, Mr. Warden. Just to clarify that, yes, that would be a reasonable approach to reduce the speed. Again, knowing that the calculation of the clear zone is calculated from actual data and not the posted speed. That said, anything on a collector road or rural road, there's no clear zone allowances under the 3 meters. So again, having trees that are 3 meters or less is a real risk to the municipality. And again, that's just something to concern with. Should council want to remain that, regardless of any signage or anything out there, it does not remove liability.
Thank you. Alternate Willis?
Thank you, through the chair. As the deputy warden said, I don't think anyone in this room wants to cut down trees, and I've gotten fairly emotional about trees in my day, but we're talking a lot about liability and limiting liability, but I think, really what we should be talking about is increasing safety, because I also don't want to wake up in the morning, open up the news, and read that someone's lost a child or a parent because they've hit one of those trees. So that's what I'm stuck on. And I read all of the reports, and I don't see anything that is going to keep that from happening in what's in front of us right now.
Thank you. Councillor Calver?
Thank you, through your warden. So, can't put a stop sign in the middle of the road just stopping traffic. What would happen if the landowner decided he wanted to put another laneway in by those trees? Now you've got vehicles coming and going. Would that justify a stop sign there? No.
Through you, Mr. Ward, no. we don't put stop signs at entrances.
Had to ask.
Councilor Richardson?
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Warden. Real brief question. What's the authority that says the use of a stop sign anywhere is right or wrong? The use of a stop sign isn't right or wrong. The use of a stop sign is to control traffic flow, for crying out loud. There's no right or wrong reason for using a stop sign. And if you could direct me to the authority for what the rules are for using stop signs, I'd love to see it, because I don't believe that there is one. It's to control traffic flow is what it is, and to control traffic flow in dangerous areas, and that's what this is. So if you could direct me to the authority of the use of a stop sign and where it's permitted and where it isn't, I'd love to see it.
So through you, Mr. Warden, it's in the MUTDC manuals, it's in the OTM, I believe it's book 5, maybe book 6 of regulatory signs that actually states that. And don't get confused with traffic flow versus traffic speed. Yes, they are used to design traffic flow, turning movements, who gets to go at intersections. They are strongly advised that they're not to be used to control speed.
And I don't think for anybody here sitting here is worried about the controlling the speed. We want to control the safety passage through a canopy is what we want to do. We don't want it. The speed is subsequent to that. So it's to control the traffic flow through a canopy of trees is what they'd be put there for. So I appreciate that, and maybe you could forward the information to me. Like I say, I'm not familiar with the statutes that you provided or the policies that you provided. Are they statutes, provincial statutes? Are they policies? Are they what are they?
So again, they are municipal design, engineering design guidelines. So council can install a stop sign. Personally, from a professional opinion and staff, I think a speed reduction is more engineering sound and for the use of the signage rather than a stop sign. But again, council can do what they wish. I guess the argument would come into play that should, as the engineer's report suggests, a stop sign cause an incident where someone freaks out because they drove that road forever and all of a sudden there's a stop sign. And yes, I'm just speculating here, and the percentage is probably low. I don't know what it is. But should that happen, I would actually say the county's almost negligent in that aspect because it's an improper use of that signage. Like it's, and that's just from my professional opinion.
Okay, I appreciate that. So, but we're not talking statutes, laws. We're talking guidelines, and guidelines are just what that is a guideline. So, as long as I think we can get rid of the wrong use of a sign, those conversations or those words, because I don't think it's a guideline that we would be following or a guideline that we would be not following. Just the same as the guideline that says trees that are 3 meters away from the road need to be protected or need to be removed, or you have to protect the traffic from that. So. I appreciate the clarify of that, so thank you very much.
Other members of council, any questions or comments? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Warden, I'd make the motion that for a trial period of 1 year, that stop signs are installed on each side of the tree canopy on County Road 9, which also includes advisory signs ahead of those stop signs, letting people to know that there is a new stop sign there. As well, and we've not addressed this matter, but I think I think our alternate councillor sort of is getting there, is that I think what we need to do is start to plant the trees along that roadway where they would be planted if those trees were taken out of there. We can plant them now, because I do agree that there are some trees there that are at the end of life, and they do have to be removed, and there's no doubt about that. And those trees have to be removed, but not the healthy ones, so, but.
Can we stick with the motion and then we can discuss it?
Yep,
Thank
sorry
you.
about that.
We're just I'm trying to keep it clear so the minutes show it.
Madam Clerk, I know, was writing feverishly, as most of them do when I start talking, so thank you through you, Mr. Warden. So, on a temporary basis, 1 year, stop signs on each side of those trees, so that we can assess the problem and to plant the subsequent trees. If that's, Madam Clerk has enough there, and I'll stop talking.
Okay.
Thank you.
So moved. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Keller. Now, there was a third, it was to note and receive and then give direction, and then there was also to direct staff to create a policy to be presented to council approval for a later date, which reflects the directed treatment of the trees. Do you want that included in the motion as well?
Yes, thank you, through you, Mr. Warden, to include the policy. I think that's utmost important, and as well as to note and receive.
Okay. Okay, so moved. Seconder, are you in agreement with the addition of that to the motion? Okay. Okay. Mover, any comments?
No, sorry, Mr. Warden, I thought I'd commented enough, so thank you.
Okay. Seconder?
No, I just hope people give it an opportunity. Thank you.
Other members of council? Councillor Fritz?
One closing comment that I could support it as an amendment if you were willing, if that was a speed reduction instead of a stop sign.
Do you take that as a friendly? Councillor Richardson?
I would entertain it. The problem being is I'm not sure what the difference in the liability is. Is that, at least in my personal belief, the liability is and the safety is greater. It's safer with stop signs than the speed reduction. And if we had some type of references as to what is the safest way of doing it, what is the least liable way of doing it, but I don't have that. So, but ultimately, if we try it for a year and it reduces the speed and reduces, I just have the problem with, I don't know what's the safest way of doing it. I think the safest way to do it is the stop signs, but I would accept the speed reducing if it provides us an opportunity to study this thing further. So I don't think we've got anybody here this evening that can give me that advice, I don't think.
So, do you have any clarification on that, Director, or it's already been spoken to?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Warden. Again, OTM Manual Book 5 speaks specifically to the use of a speed sign not being, or stop sign not being used to control speed. Again, should there be an incident at that location where an individual panics or still blows through the stop sign, I think we'd be, again, negligent because of the use of the sign. And yes, it's a guideline, but to control speed, that's what regulatory speed signs are for.
Okay. Councillor Richardson?
Sorry, and through you, Mr. Warden, as I'm bouncing this around in my tiny brain here, I think at this point, because this is going to be a trial period, and we're also going to be examining how the trial period works. And there will be an opportunity that if the trial period isn't sufficient, that we could always ramp it up and put a stop sign there. So I would be willing to accept the friendly amendment at this point during the trial period, and we can gather further information with respect to, and we could also, within this current year, we can find out exactly if there's any difference in liability between the signs, whether it's safer and less, if it's safer and less liable to put a stop sign there, or if it's good the way it is. So I would accept that under the trial period so that we could examine it further. So thank you, Deputy Warden Fritz.
Okay. So friendly amendment's been accepted by the mover. Is it acceptable by the seconder?
What are we looking at, like a 30-kilometer-an-hour zone through there? Would that be, how fast do you want to, how do you want to slow it down?
Has there been any study
50?
on that, what speed we would want it at?
Well, according to the TAC manual, the operating speed would have to be less than 50 kilometers an hour to remove the trees from liability that are 3 meters and greater. Any tree that is 3 meters or less, which is that 7 of the 9 trees in the grove, we're not removing any liability from the municipality regardless of speed. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So, like, we're talking about a speed reduction, would 50 work?
No. So from a staff perspective, to protect staff, I cannot recommend, honestly, like 30. Like you'd have to be, typically what we see in our roads is if you post a speed at 80, people are driving 15 to 20 kilometers above that. If you post the speed at 60, people are driving 10 to 15 kilometers above that, except in your higher urban areas. Out there, again, people drive what they're what the feel of the road is and what they're expected to drive. You could post that at 30 and still have speeds of 70. Yeah, so I would recommend something below a posted 50 out there if that's the council decision. I just caution that the clear zone calculation and liability is then calculated by the actual speeds, and I just don't think they would come down low enough regardless of whatever we post out there.
And would not remove any liability or improve any safety on the ones that are 3 meters or less?
It would marginally improve safety. I'm not going to deny that. I think it's a good approach to look at that as an option because it would be defensible in court if there's an action to remove liability off of council and not be negligent for that use. It would not remove liability off of the county of Lennox and Addington as a whole, because we know it's not expected. We have 2 engineer reports that actually say that it's not really anticipated, and one said marginally improve, and the other one said like it was negligent, it would not really improve it at all. Like it would be not even noticeable.
Okay, thank you. And just going back to the seconder, were you completed with your statement
Yes,
then?
I would accept a speed reduction. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Other members of council? Alternate Willis.
Thank you, through the chair. This is a fairly dramatic difference in what the current speed is that people are accustomed to going down to 30. How would we enforce that? Because if we don't enforce that, I wouldn't pay attention to it.
Sure.
Enforcement is through OPP. We would notify the OPP that there's new signage going in. We'd change our bylaw. We work with the OPP and at our TAC. They would assign officers because it's a newly created zone. So I would expect increased enforcement. That said, enforcement is only available on the available officers that are in the area. The location of that, it's tough to get out there and then respond to other calls in other needed areas. So I do expect increased enforcement, and I can see increased enforcement. I would caution that it's not going to be the enforcement that the public would be looking for, and complaints and wanting enforcement would increase. But that's neither here nor there either. I'm just providing information to council.
Other members of council, any comments or questions? I'll go back to the mover.
Do you need a speed? Because I'll give you a speed of 40 kilometers an hour, and that'll put a lot of this discussion to bed. So if my friend Councillor Calver agrees with that, we'll put the 40 kilometer an hour in there, and we'll live by it, and it'll be a decision of council and for the trial period, and we'll see what happens after that.
Is that any asset, Director, do you believe, to have it specified through the motion? I suppose for liability maybe, but,
Again, they are guidelines. Council can do whatever they want. A speed change is more rational. So if there is an incident, I think that a speed change is more defensible in court compared to the installation of a stop sign. Again, I would just caution that we know it's not going to greatly reduce the speeds out there. And any tree within the 3-meter area, or whatever the speed calculation is for that within the clear zone, are still liable for the municipality. So if the speeds go from 80 to 70 and the clear zone goes from 5.5 to 4.5, any tree within the 4.5 or less is still classified a hazard, and the municipality is still liable regardless of signage out there.
okay. So with that, we'll accept the amendment to 40 kilometers an hour. Is the seconder agreeable to that?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay. So mover and seconder is agreeable. You good? I want to make sure that we've got it written down right.
Through you, Mr. Chair, can I just confirm, Councillor Richardson, your end further was that trees be planted outside the clear zone to replace any trees that must be removed? Is that correct?
That would be removed, should we remove them. What my intention is Madam Clerk, is that we all know that at some point, those trees are come to end of life, and it'll probably be 40 or 50 years for some of them, right? So why not start the trees planted now, so that if they do, as they do come to end of life, the other trees have had the opportunity to grow up and replace the ones that would be taken out. So to replace the trees as if we were taking them out, I guess is the best way to put it.
And you wanted that as part of the motion, not the
yes.
discussion?
Yes.
Okay. 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 Director?
Yes. Can I get clarification on the second one for the policy? As we're discussing this, I'm planning on bringing a tree preservation policy to council. Are we going to do this on all county roads, or is this for this one area only? Because then, again, we can reference the design guidelines and then have areas identified as, environmental sensitive areas, or as directed by council type thing, and we could add sections should another incident occur in another municipality elsewhere. We could add add it to a schedule, but ultimately going forward, all other roadways would be treated with our past practice and safety upgrades, if you will, adhering to design standards.
So did you want this treated as a one-off then?
At this point, because we have no policy, at this point, I think it needs to be treated as a one-off, and so that when policy gets brought back to us, we can assess it and go from there. I mean, in my world, there's always a back door to everything, and there should be, so. But I think we've got to start somewhere, and I do think that we probably do need a policy. But, I mean, obviously, this is a one-off because there's no policy in place, and it's landed on our desk. So, obviously, and if we're going to do a tree policy, it should be for the extent of the county, right? So, but we can make those adjustments once we see the policy as well, right? But
Does that clear it up for you, Director? Okay, perfect. Thank you. So I'll go back. Any comments from council before I call the question? Director?
Sorry, thank you to our Director of Finance here, Mark Day. The tree on County Road 41 and the 3 trees on County Road 5. I know we haven't really spoken about the trees on County Road 5, but we can install guide rail. They're right on a corner, so as you're driving straight, you're looking at those trees. Are we just talking about the County Road 9 trees? Are we talking about all the trees that were identified in this report?
And there's a couple options here. We can deal with it now through this motion, or we can, you take this motion for the grove of trees and then do a subsequent motion for the remainder, if that's easier.
In my world, Mr. Warden, I think that would be easier if we did it that way. We'll deal with this first because this was the bulk of the conversation, then we'll deal with the other ones in a separate conversation.
Okay, Director? Does that work for you? Okay, that would keep it cleaner, I think. So, any final questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll just go back to the mover. Did you have any final comments?
Once again, I'm going to say no. So.
Okay. So with that, I'll call the question. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion is carried. Okay. So again, similar to the last meeting, I'm assuming some of you may not want to stay for the whole thing. If that's the case, feel free to go when you're ready. I just ask that you go quietly so that we can carry on with our meeting. We still have a full agenda. Thank you. So the next item up is, oh, sorry.
County Road 41.
County Road 41. So the County Road 41. So we've had discussion. The same recommendation in the agenda would go for it as well because they're all lumped together. So staff would need direction from council as to how we wish to deal with that as well. Councillor Calver.
I can make a motion for the tree on County Road 41 to protect it with a guardrail. I've been out and visited it, and I fully believe it can be saved by throwing a guardrail up there for that one.
To be protected by guardrail. Excuse me. So moved. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Richardson. Mover, did you want to comment any more on it?
No, like I say, I've been out there, I've looked at it, and I you know, the 1.5 meter protection zone's there for the guardrail. I don't see why there can't be a guardrail put up to protect that tree. They did cut one of the other trees down recently, about the same size and shape that had some issues, but that tree is, in my opinion, is 100% healthy and worth looking after. Thank you.
Seconder?
No, Councillor Calver explained that very eloquently, so thank you.
So I'll open it up to council. Any questions or comments? Because we were discussing the other trees. That's where most of the discussion was. There may be questions and discussion that is wished to be had on this one. If there is, seeing none. Go back to the mover for final. Did you have anything additional, Councillor Calver?
No, that's good. Thank you.
Okay. So I'll call the question. All in favor, please raise a hand. Motion has passed. And you did mention County Road 5. Do you want us to deal with that this evening as well? Or
Yeah, because again, that project is ongoing, similar to County Road 9. Just to update and inform council, so those trees, again, if you look at your chart, cannot have guide rail installed properly at that location. They're just as close, if not a little bit closer to the road, I think, than the trees in County Road 9. And they are right at the curve. So again, I'm not recommending a speed change for this one. It would be even less supported because you're driving straight into the trees because they're on the curve there. But again, there are options, and it's just how much council wants to, whether they want to improve safety or limit liability. But we just need direction from council on those ones as well.
Okay. So if I could just clarify the trees that we're talking about now, due to the curve, the angle of the impact would not allow any recovery period for the steel beam guide rail to do any protection. Is that basically sum it up?
Yes, in fact, installing guide rail there would be more dangerous because the guide rail would be right up against the face of the tree and therefore not, so now you have a hazard even closer to the road than the trees. Okay. And they are, like, again, right on the corner. So as you're driving, if you miss the corner, you're right into that tree or the three trees.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments on this one? Alternate Lalonde.
Yes, through you, Your Honor. Mr. Wager, on the curve, if you remove what you would like to remove, Is there any risk of an increase of snow blowing across that curve and making that highway more dangerous should those trees be gone?
No, so they're, through you, Mr. Warden, they're on the north side of the road. Predominantly, our areas of concern are on the west and south sides of roads for drifting. And in behind these trees, there's a lot of small shrubbery and some other trees that are outside of the clear zone. We just have so there's, picture a wall of brush and then large mature trees behind them outside the clear zone, and then 3 trees right on a corner as you're approaching that forested area, if you will.
Any other questions or comments on this? Seeing none, I do not have a motion on this one yet, right? Okay, thank you. If there's no further questions or comments, I would entertain a motion, if someone would like to put it on the floor. And it would be similar to this one, where we're directing staff for the treatment to be used or the action taken. I'll ask the second time. Alternate Willis.
Thank you, through the chair. So I would recommend that the July 7th, 2026 staff report tree removals in clear zones, EA Director, Infrastructure Services, be noted and received, and further that council directs staff to remove the trees on County Road 5 that have been identified, and further that council directs staff to create a policy to be presented to council for approval at a later date which reflects the directed treatment of the trees.
So moved. Do I have a seconder?
Just bear with me, Your Worship. I'm just trying to find the mapping for the County Road 5 trees. I looked at a lot of trees throughout our county. I'm scrambling. I'm trying to even remember where County Road 5 is. I'm looking back on.
Could you
Can I just have a few minutes to try to find the
Through-
pictures of these?
Through you, Mr. Warden, if I can go to the podium and if I can have a minute to pull up the site, and then I cue our IT manager to then share that with council and the public that's watching, I think that's a great opportunity.
Please proceed.
Thank you.
So through you, Mr. Warden, we're on County Road 5 facing west. This is at the town limits, just as you're approaching the hill. It's these 3 trees that are in question. It's tough to see here because the Google van or bus, whatever they use, vehicle is in the opposite lane. But if you're in the west lane, this line of path lines right up with those trees, and if I get a little bit closer, you'll see that they are very similar to the grove of trees on County Road 9. In fact, I think the one is even closer than most of them. So it's just these 3 trees that we're recommending removal of, because when you're coming this way. Again, should there be any wet condition or a driver not paying attention or any incidents on the road, these trees are right in your line of sight, and again, are a safety hazard due to the proximity and within the clear zone. Shorey Street, I believe.
Vent,
Yeah,
is it not?
Story Street.
Oh, maybe that's- Oh, yeah, that's the next one. Okay. Okay, Counselor Calver, that, dial it in a little bit? Okay.
Yes, thank you. I was just trying to, I've never really paid attention. It would be called County Road 5. It's always been Palace Road, but yes, now that I know exactly where I am, I know where I've been.
Okay,
And I will agree, those trees are, I don't want to say it, but they're not in a good place
okay.
with that corner. Thank you.
So we have a mover. I'll look for a seconder. Counselor Davison. Mover, any comments? Seconder? Other members of council? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion has passed. Okay. So that can, please.
Community that's been there for 100 years, and you're just gonna cut them down because they're beside the road. Like the tree, like the signs saying, welcome to Napanee,
Okay,
you're just as likely to hit it.
it's been dealt with. Thank you for the input, but we have to move on in the agenda. Bulk highway course salt contract is the next one. Director, did you have anything additional to share on this?
Yeah, it's through you, Mr. Warden. I want to thank Dan Baxter for assisting in creating this report, though I'm presenting it. I did have to ask him the comparison of the additional neighboring municipalities, just to provide council with some additional costs. We were the lowest. The second was $116.64, and it went up to $119.14. So this is just, and that was recently tendered. So this is an example of multi-year contracts and allowing extensions, and the benefit of those contracts dealing with the same supplier over a longer period. Happy to answer any further questions should council have any.
Thank you. Are there any questions regarding this one? Seeing none. Oh, Councillor Calver, did you have a question?
Not a question, just a statement. Yeah, that's a pretty good price. Of the way fuel prices are going, lock that down as quick as you can.
So I would entertain a motion if someone was willing to put it on the floor. Councillor Davison? You, where am I here? So are you recommending to adopt the recommendation?
Yes, recommend to receive, yep, recommend it, yep.
Okay, thank you. So moved, seconded by Councillor Fritz. Any comments from council? Call the question. All in favor? Motion is passed. Conveyance of surplus road allowance. Again, any additional information on this one?
No additional information, but happy to answer any questions should council have any.
Any questions for clarification? I'd look for a motion if someone would put it on the floor. Councillor Calver.
Yeah, I'll move staff recommendation.
So moved, seconded by Councillor Lalonde. Sorry, alternate Lalonde. Any comments from council? Call a question. All in favor? Motion is passed. County Road 6 culvert rehabilitation. Back to the director if there's anything.
Yes, I will like to add, or apologize for the late addition. This report is mainly due to the time sensitivity of the construction, and it has to come to council because it doesn't follow the new procurement policy for staff to automatically award, because it does come in over budget. Although we are recommending the low bid, this project came in, I believe it's approximately $100,000, $106,000 over budget. And it's mainly due to staff's underestimation of the work, which again, I apologize for. Looking at the works to be completed is accurate, but the access to the site is where a lot of the costs come in, and that was just not thought of by staff or the engineering firm that reviewed it, just due to its location in the urban village of Yarker. Happy to answer any questions should council have any.
Thank you. Are there any questions regarding this one? Councillor Calver?
Thank you, through your worship. I guess my problem is it's 33% over budget. How did we miss, that's a big number to miss. How did we miss that? Can I just get an explanation on it? Because 10% over budget, 15%, but 33 is that's a third of the project. So thank you.
Director?
Yeah, so typically we see access to culverts and box culverts in the nature of $10,000, $15,000. So they have to build a little road and they can bring equipment down to access to do the repair. We doubled that, and I think we maybe even tripled that. However, even our estimate for that came in double because it's right in the village of Yarker. It's a very narrow ravine. There's houses and a business on all four quadrants of the culvert, which really limit the equipment and what they can do, which actually will increase the construction time and the time that the vehicles and labor are on site. And then in addition, I'll go into a little bit of spiel here, and I apologize because we already have a late meeting.
Carry on.
Structures, a lot of bridges and structures were built in the 60s and early 70s, and there just seems to be a lot of municipal structure work in the area. So maybe 10% of that is just because there's a lot of work in the area, and there's going to be more work over the next 10 years, mainly in structures, and you'll see municipalities switching to structures. I believe we're in a really good position structure-wise throughout the county because we've been doing rehab and spending the money at the right time, doing the proper replacement, and we've also been doing bridge sealing as a maintenance, which actually extends the lifespan of our concrete. This said, if we don't do the repair, we're looking at replacement of this structure likely within 10 years, maybe 12 years, at a cost of $1.5 to $2 million. The $300,000 per the report will extend the lifespan of this structure to 20 to 25 years. So again, I apologize for the underestimate that is on staff for not fully understanding the access requirements, and happy to answer any other questions should council have any.
Thank you. Any other questions? I would entertain a motion if someone would put it on the floor. Councillor Davison.
I would move we proceed with the estimate.
So moved. Seconded by alternate Willis. Any comments from council? Call the question. All in favor? Motion is passed. Buy Ontario Act. And
Through you, Mr. Warden.
today,
For council's information, the report summarizes the impact of the Buy Ontario Act that was implemented on April 13th, 2026. It will affect some of the major construction contracts and tenders and how we evaluate, and looking through those requirements on how to select or evaluate some of the tenders. Basically, there's looking at a domestic supply chain plan that they do have to produce that we have to use in our evaluation. So there's some extra work that has to be done. I do highlight the third attachment in the report is a good example of the steps of the processes that we will have to be following through. And then I'm happy to answer any questions that council may have.
thank you. Are there any questions for the director at this time? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion. Councillor Hook.
Motion to receive the staff recommendation.
So moved. Seconded by Councillor Calver. Any comments from council? Call the question. All in favor? Motion is passed. Procurement coordinator. Excuse me. And who do
Through you, Mr.
Director of
Warden.
Finance.
Before council is a request for we're looking at a procurement coordinator position for the county. As council will recall, a couple years ago, we had KPMG do a review of the financial services, and it was pointed out at that time, we're one of the very few counties or municipalities that don't have a dedicated procurement position. I do have to, thank the departments. Everyone does do this as a sidebar on the managers, but we do need a centralized position to help with that. Since the Buy Ontario Act came out, it highlighted this even more when we started to meet with the departments to see how they could need assistance and help doing this. We did do a survey with the departments, and we did meet with each director to see what they were looking for in that position. In your report is really the duties that they will be doing, this position that we're looking for. One of the other things that highlighted in our meetings with the departments is they'd like some assistance in grant applications and reporting and that. So we're hoping that this position will free up some other finance staff to give the departments the assistance that they need in that regard as well. The unfortunate thing is we did not have this in the 2026 budget. So we're looking that if it is implemented, it would be a start date of September, and the cost for 2026 would be approximately $38,000, including benefits. Would have to be made up from savings in other areas, or we'd have to pull it from the general operating reserve, which has about a balance of $900,000 in as of now. But I'm happy to answer any questions that council may have, and just looking for guidance or approval.
Thank you. Any questions? Councillor Richardson.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Ward. Not so much a question. I think we can all agree that procurement in today's world is a very important aspect of any municipality. If you're going to get yourself into a jackpot, procurement's going to do it quicker than anything. The concern I have is that we are now, not counting this evening, one meeting away from lame duck, and I think we're a little late in the game to be starting to create positions. I would suggest that it be forwarded to the 2027 budget process. We'll have a better idea as to where we are at that point. I realize that this year it's only $38,000, but $114,000 over the course of 30 or 35 years is going to start to add up. And I just think it would be more fiscally prudent that we forward it to the 2027 budget at this time. So, but that would be my thoughts on the matter. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just look for other comments. Alternate Lalonde.
Yes, so if you were to get permission to go forward tonight, from September to December, do you have any idea how much money you might save by having a procurement coordinator?
It would be, you have to quantify all the managers' time that they're doing that. It technically could be the same, but with it's a fixed salaries anyways, we're paying our managers and those people that staff time regardless, but they would be saving time and allow them to do other duties as well though. So there is efficiencies for sure if they were to start in September.
Any other questions at this time? If not, I would entertain a motion. Councillor Willis, alternate Willis.
Thank you. I move to accept the staff recommendation.
So moved. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Fritz, Deputy Warden Fritz. I'm struggling with titles tonight. Any comment from the mover? Seconder? Other members of council? Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? I didn't put my hand up, but I was for. So, motion is passed. Hiring process. And turn it to the CAO.
Through you, Mr. Warden. Just want to thank and recognize our Director of HR and our Director of Infrastructure Services, and also our clerk. It was a collaborative process to develop this report. Everybody played their part in their role. For example, Trina wrote the recruitment section, Tracy wrote the section on the history of communications. We put our own personal comments in there at the end, which are verbatim, unedited statements. And all three of us, myself, Trina, and Chris, are happy to answer any questions council might have.
Thank you. Are there any questions at this time? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion. Did you have a question, Councillor Richardson?
Yeah, it's more of a statement than a question, Mr. Warden. I mean, obviously, I'm the one that was a driver on the bus here to have this report or have something brought before council. I'm still of the opinion that, unfortunately, we've put staff in a position where they are now responding to something that they shouldn't have to respond to. And in my humble opinion, it should have been looked at by a third set of eyes so that we didn't put staff in that position. Obviously, I've read the report and I've gone through the recommendation from the Integrity Commissioner. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that anybody can apply for any job within any organization, no matter who you are or where you're sitting. The problem starts when after the application's been submitted or accepted. So I think we are probably deficient in some form of policy. We've talked about previous past practices. And one that jumps to mind is the one that we had heard about earlier was when Warden Brzee stepped away from his position as the warden to run or compete for a position of a member of provincial parliament. In my humble opinion, that's probably what should have happened in this case. By not doing that, it unfortunately plants the seed of doubt among a number of people within the community, as well as myself. But I'm not aware of any policy that we have at the county that would cover that. And I think that at this point, maybe there's something that we should look at to instituting some form of policy. The other thing that's of concern, or at least, and maybe it's user error, because I will take responsibility where responsibility is due, is that sometimes I'm not as adequate at finding things, but I wasn't able to find a lot of these policies or processes on the county website. And I think in order to be transparent and fair to the communities, I think we need to put as much of those things on our website as possible. So that's another thing that I think that we need to do to continue to fight the battle of whether or not governments are being fair and open and transparent with our public. So, and if it's that I can't find it, that's an easy fix, because I'm sure that somebody can point me in that direction. But I just don't see a lot of those processes and policies that are accessible by the average Joe that would get onto the County of Livingston website and pull up and want to see what the policy is with respect to some of these things that are contained within the report. I realize at this point, like I said earlier, we're getting late, we're getting long in the tooth with respect to fixing things and putting policies in place, but I think at some point we really at this level have to look at doing that. So in any event, thank you for your time, Mr. Warden, and I will turn my mic off.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I just make sure I'm on the right one here. Yeah. I would entertain a motion at this time. Councillor Calvert.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to note and receive. Thank you.
So moved. Seconded by Councillor Davison. Mover, any comments?
No.
Seconder? Other members of council? I'm just going to publicly state that I do support the motion as it stands. I have not had any negative comments from the warden's position, or it was deputy at the time, or as mayor of Loyalist. So and knowing everyone that's involved, I have complete confidence in it. So I'm in agreement that we receive this and put it to bed and move forward with getting some work done. So with that, call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is passed. Advisory Committee recommendations and reports. The Technical Advisory Committee. Director?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Warden. I don't have anything to add or highlight, but happy to answer any questions should council have any.
Okay. Any questions for the director this evening? Seeing none, could I have a motion to receive? Councillor Fritsch, seconded by Councillor Hook. Any comments? Call the question. All in favor? Motion is passed. The John M. Parrott Center Compliance Report.
Thank
Director
you.
Malcolm?
Thank you, through you, Mr. Warden. You can see in our occupancy rates that we had 8 admissions in the month of June and 3 respites using our respite bed, which is always lovely to see. Our staffing, in terms of staffing, the biggest compliment I think that we are seeing is that we are seeing a steady increase in resumes across all of the departments, which is very nice to see, given that there is still lots of competition around in our area. We've had no inspections with public reports as of yet, and nothing same from the Ministry of Labor. Our quality indicators are fairly unchanged from the last time that I reported. I would say that overall we are seeing an increase in an improvement in our falls, and that is again a testament to our restorative staff that we have in place and the efforts that we have around ensuring that even when residents are falling, that they're falling safely and they are not becoming having significant things like fractures and those kinds of things that would be certainly changing their life trajectory. As I reported last month, the COVID vaccinations have now started again, and so we are now at 59% of our residents who are now up to date on their COVID vaccines. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Any questions regarding this report? Seeing none, I would take a motion to receive. Councillor Fritsch, seconded by Councillor Calvert. All in favor? Motion is passed. Administrative service activities. Turn to the CAO.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'm happy to answer any questions council might have.
Any questions on this report? Seeing none, we would go to the financial services activities.
Through you, Mr. Warden, I have nothing further to highlight, but happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Thank you. Any questions on this? Seeing none, social services activities.
I have nothing to highlight for the report, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions on social services? Seeing none, long-term care services activities. Turn to the director.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Warden. I just want to highlight another benefit that we are seeing with our partnership through the Limestone Community Education Program, who partnered with us, and we were able to provide at no charge to our dietary staff their food service worker certificate program that normally would have cost them approximately $3,000 to $3,500 for them to receive that, and they were able to do that while they were working with the school board. So really a fantastic partnership has been attained through this. Happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you. Any questions? Councillor Calver.
No questions, but I was very honored to have attended the graduation ceremony, and it's for me to sit and see the broad range of people and ages that have taken this course and graduated. It's just absolutely staggering and impressive as hell, or heck. Sorry about that. Every time I go to one of these, I've been to a couple of them, and it's just that people are taking the interest, and it's a wide range of ages. I mean, there's kids there basically right out of high school or college, and there's people at my age group that are kind of looking at semi-retirement to taking this and qualifying, and it's great to see it. It's amazing, and it's an excellent system they have for the students to get the hands on, because they're not going through something and then they start in the field and go, oh, this isn't what I thought it was. They get to see it right day one, and it's just an awesome thing we have going up there, and I really appreciate the invites every time we get them. Thank you.
Thank you. I agree with that, Councillor Calver. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, emergency service activities. Turn to Chief Jones.
Thank you, and through you, Warden. Nothing to add except the Loyalist Paramedic Station site plan was approved and has been executed, and the tender was issued today.
Thank you.
Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments on this one? Seeing none, human resources activities.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Happy to answer any questions that council has. I don't have anything to highlight or add to the report.
Thank you. Councillor Lalonde, alternate Lalonde.
Thank you. Through you, Your Honor, I was really impressed with this report. Two elements in particular, the organizational development, the Mentoring Matters at LNA program. I thought that was really, really innovative idea, and it was nice to see that. And the second one, and probably more importantly, was the health and wellness, the Appreciation at Work email campaign. I thought that was brilliant, and whoever orchestrated both of these initiatives, kudos to you, because this is really needed in the workforce in healthcare. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll be sure to pass that along to staff.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, infrastructure service activities. Turn to Director.
Yes, thank you through you, Mr. Warden. Nothing to add, but I'd be happy to answer any questions should council have any.
Councillor Lalonde.
Sorry. So through you, Mr. Wager, you and I talked briefly earlier tonight, and I just wondered if you would recap a few things about the environmental assessment and the public information that you had regarding Dundas Street Phase 4. You mentioned something about public solutions and that you'd be bringing that back to council after a second public session. Would you care to elaborate on that at all?
Yes, absolutely. So I'll have to kind of start from the beginning if you have time. I'm sure council's sick of me talking, but I apologize. So whenever a municipality does reconstruction or improvements that would modify a bridge that would have environmental impacts or would require property, so we're going outside of our existing right-of-way and we're acquiring property to make these major changes, requires the municipality to go through environmental assessment or an EA process. And what this does is it opens it up to the public. So our engineers designed, 5 to 7 alternatives. I think they had 20, and there was some absolute ones you couldn't do, and then they were down to like 7, I believe, maybe even 5, I can't remember. But there were several options that were achievable and had minimum impacts, and that was presented at a public information center. So we get public information on that, like what does the public think? How will this impact them, especially the local residents? So we hand out mailers to all the residents affected in that vicinity, hoping they come so they can provide their comments, because there's things we don't think of. And so this involves the CN rail underpass at Cannon Road 1, Cannon Road 2, and Adelphi Street. Apologies, losing my voice. So it's the CN bridge is an issue, the Napanee River Bridge is an issue, EDR traffic is an issue, but how is that going to affect residents getting into their driveways, businesses operating without adverse effects after we install a roundabout or traffic lights or anything that might impede access to their business or building. So then we take those comments and then we have a second PIC, which again is with the public. Council's more than welcome to attend. I hope you do. That we'll advertise that through our website of when that next public meeting is. And it updates the public as to here's where we were, and then based on the comments and also that includes First Nation comments as well as fisheries and other agencies. Those comments are then sculpted into the preferred alternative, and then that is presented to the public, and then from there that would then get included in the capital plan presented to county council for construction at a later date. Hopefully that answers your question, and happy to share our process with the public.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to receive all of the departmental activity reports in one motion. Councillor Hook, so moved. Seconded by Councillor Calver. All in favor? Motion is passed. Support for Finley's Law. from the Western Ontario Wardens Caucus. How would council like to deal with this? Receive or receive and support? Councillor Davison?
Report.
Receive and support? So moved, seconded by alternate Lalonde. Any comments? Call the question. All in favor? Motion is passed. Permanent doubling of the OCIF. Is there someone that would like to make a motion on this one? Councillor Fritz.
I'd make a motion to receive and support.
Receive and support. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hook. Any comments? Call the question. All in favor? Motion is passed. We do have a number of items for information. We can receive them all at once unless someone wishes to pull something to review it further. So I would entertain a motion. Councillor Fritz,
Motion to receive.
receive. Seconded by alternate Willis. Call the question. All in favor? Motion is passed. Okay. Statements by members. Are there any statements by members to be made this evening? Seeing none, are there any notices of motion to be made this evening? Seeing none, are there any matters of urgency this evening? Seeing none. So pursuant to section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001, as amended, this part of the meeting will be closed to the public in order to adopt closed session minutes, to consider third-party information supplied in confidence to the municipality, and to discuss a personal matter about an identifiable information. Could I have a motion to go into closed session? Councillor Calver, seconded by Councillor Fritz. All in favor? Motion is passed. use this again. So we just had a closed session item, and I would rise and report that in closed session, County Council approved minutes from the June 24th, 2026 closed session meeting and considered third-party information supplied in confidence to the municipality and to discuss a personal matter about an identifiable individual. And I would look for a motion from council that staff proceed as directed in closed session. Councillor Kelver, Deputy Warden Fritz. All in favor? Motion is passed. So that brings us to Medivie Health Services contract for authorization, and sorry, I got to get it open here. There we go. So I'll just turn it over to the CAO.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Warden. There's a report in front of you about the Medivie contract, but for the benefit of the public, I'm going to ask Mike Adair from Medivie to just do a short presentation about Medivie Health Services and the services they provide us here at the county with our paramedic service, along with our chief, Craig Jones.
So whenever you're ready, please proceed.
All right, through you, Warden, thank you for the opportunity to present today. As was mentioned previously, we send our regrets. Our John Ferguson, our Vice President's unable to be here today as he's attending to the unfortunate tragedy that's happened out east and taking care of the paramedics there. But I am pleased to be here today to present this report, as well as Craig will do a shared presentation. So my name is Mike Adair, the Regional Director for Medivie Health Services in Ontario, and I'm here today to present this and in collaboration with Chief Jones here. So Medivie Health Services is a health organization. We have an insurance side as well as a health operations aspect to our operation, and of course delivering ambulance services is one of the things that we do and is one of our strengths. Specifically in Lennox and Addington, we bring a great bench strength to the team here and support Chief Jones every step of the way in terms of the ambulance services that are provided, but we also support the municipality to bring things like, and we'll go through some of those things in this presentation, but bring the high quality care. That takes a lot of work, and we'll go through some of those things as we discuss. So the mission of Medivie Health Services is to improve the well-being of Canadians, and that is something that we take seriously and can align with the municipality. Medivie, not only does Medivie work in across Canada in several areas, but we also have a Medivie Foundation, and so the foundation is a charitable organization that collects and brings resources to things like PTSD for responder research, things like improving the well-being of communities in various communities that we operate within. So that might be things in areas of food security. It could be a basketball court to improve the amount of physical activity that's going on, and those types of things. So something that we encourage that both persons that are in the public or the county to continue to look at. There are applications every year for funding for different programming, and it is an opportunity and possibility for us. Across Canada, I was mentioning we do have other operations, so we do operate in Eastern Canada in the Maritime provinces and help run services there, as well as in Ontario we have 4 services, and then in Central Canada we have services in both, we support services in Alberta as well as in Saskatchewan. And those are all paramedic services. In addition to that, Medivie Health Services works to provide other kinds of health solutions in the community, like our mobile mental health program in Ontario, or our clinics that Medivy has moved into serving as well. And as you can see, here are some of the statistics in terms of what some of the work that Medivy Foundation has done in the past. So if you look at our work here on an annual basis, and I think Council's aware of this, and it's in the report, but we do around 9,000 calls in Lennox and Addington. And there's some of the other statistics you can see there. I don't know, Craig, if you have anything else to add to that.
No, the statistics before you there. So just this year, we did 24 obstetric calls. We did patients where it's called a STEMI, so we take them direct from our community, direct to Kingston, based on what the paramedics assess on the cardiac monitor. Time saves heart, essentially, is the mantra. So we've introduced that program, and additionally, we do that for the stroke centers too. So anybody we see certain signs and strokes, we're able to bypass and go direct. So awesome care to our community.
That's right, and then also on this slide, we talk about community paramedicine, I was just gonna say,
Yes.
and as you can see, over the course of a year, there's close to 10,000 patient interactions, which does help us to reduce the amount of times that we bring people to the hospital, as well as improves the health for residents within this county. So I think Craig's going to talk a little bit about some of the successes and some of the things that we have done in the past, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the future. So go ahead, Craig.
Yeah, so recently we were successful in obtaining a $25,000 grant for mental health initiatives. I believe we were successful in that application because we were able to open that up to the broader scope of the Medivy employees. So if we ran a course that had 100 people that could attend virtually, we could also introduce that to other staff within the Medivy sphere to say, hey, come in and take it. So that bolstered our application because we were potentially hitting more individuals with that, those therapies and those educations. Recently, council be aware, we introduced a long service medal, so that was lacking here. Medics didn't feel appreciated and valued for their long service, so we were able to give them a medal for that, and that was a great initiative and very well received by the staff. We've explored, this is our third one, we're running one right now, of advanced IV training for our paramedics, so our primary care paramedics can't always give all of our full scope of drugs. What this does is allow them to broaden that scope of care with 8 additional medical directives that they can operate with. We implemented the Zoll Auto Pulse. So again, I brought that to council through the last 2 budgets. That's a machine that does CPR as opposed to a firefighter or a paramedic in the back of a truck. Much better, safer environment for our medics to operate in. Safer for firefighters, allows firefighters to stay in their community rather than travel down to Napanee if we're up in the northern communities. It's just a great device that allows better care and clinically is better. We've enhanced our community paramedic integration, so we were able to leverage a business case through Ontario Health that they provided us with $80,000 to allow our staff to renovate a spot over at the hospital with the primary care team. And so the Lenadco building is what we know it as locally. So we're in that space now. So our medics are directly integrated with primary care, have a direct relationship with the docs and the nurses and the teams there, so it's an awesome interaction for that scope of community paramedics. It's working very well. And we showed council this again, and GIS was here to show how well we're working together through the GIS solution that does that mapping feature when we get a new client, so we ensure we're using our human resources the most efficiently we can. Through procurement, so Medline, so Medivy has large purchasing contracts, obviously, given they have so many services within Canada, and we were able to piggyback onto those, but the nice thing again about them was we didn't have to, it wasn't all or nothing, so if we like a certain glove, we don't necessarily have to buy from Medivy's provider of those gloves. We have achieved significant savings. Again, we did that for uniforms, as Mike mentioned previously. We did a complete policy and procedure review just to ensure it's in alignment with industry best practice throughout not only obviously Ontario but Canada. So that was an amazing opportunity to do that. And then future-based planning, that was a collaboration between local data, Medivy GIS, local GIS, and we mapped out the warden at the time and again had some hard questions, and we were able to answer all those, and we satisfied his concerns, and we made a great step forward, and as we announced today in council, we're moving forward with the site plan, so that's very exciting.
And perhaps this slide could be called bench strength, but this is one of the things that the value of working with Medivy as a partner. brings to the table. So there's a couple of things I just want to highlight. So one is the, as the chief had mentioned, the annual procurement savings through purchasing power, whether that be uniforms or consumables. Another one is enterprise solutions. So for example, when we purchase enterprise solution like First Watch, which is a data analytic system that can help us to notify paramedics, chiefs, or administration of a situation that might be going on in the paramedic service, or it can help us to look at some of the data like demand analysis, which will help us to understand what the performance how we're running our resources during peak times of the day, and those types of things comes with our service. So we have some of that support in the background. And not only do we have that support, but we also have a way of working with that vendor directly, Lennox and Addington, with that vendor to making sure that we can build the information platforms that we need. Or if that's not enough, then you can work with our team at Medivy, whether that be Darcy Clinton or someone like that from the East Coast that has expertise and experience in this area. From a labor relations perspective, one of the things that we have been doing and we're going to continue to do would be provide negotiation support in the way of a lead negotiator, and then also a certain level of support to arbitrations should they come up. So just help with that advice, that legal advice when required. Other things are just that 24/7 support to the organization. So whether that be the chief is maybe on vacation and you need someone to fill in or provide advice at 2 a.m. on a Saturday morning, or whether that be a crisis is happening and you need to tap into the communications division in Medivy Health Services, or like when MPDS, which is our new provincial dispatch system, was being rolled out, helping to develop communication to go out to the public and to our internal and external system partners. Those types of things will, of course, continue. And then other things that maybe aren't mentioned here is continuing to provide recommendations and develop a master plan for Lennox and Addington. So that's going to that would be something that we would continue to do. And then finally, I just have on the slide that leadership development, and this is just really about that team. That operational consulting can pick up a phone and have anyone across Canada help provide solutions or input into an important decision. So Craig is never on his own, the chief's never on their own. You always have access, and there's a high level of expectation that we support both Craig, but that Craig actually reaches out and asks questions. Medivy Health Services takes safety extremely seriously. And that's one of the things that we worked into the policy review. It was safety driven, so it was with the lens of safety. And we certainly have a high expectation, and that goes back to the point that we also have the insurance side of a business, which is on the health, but understanding health systems and understanding how to help populations and people individually be healthy is something that helps drive our work that we do. And that's also seen in the ample support and I shouldn't say ample, it's just a lot of support, and we'll continue to provide that support in areas like community paramedicine and help the deputy there to innovate where it's possible and to expand that program. And I know that we've worked really hard with that individual to make sure that we're serving this community. So those are a few of the things that I just wanted to highlight. And we'd be pleased to take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Seeing none, thank you very much for the presentation and providing the information. So we do have a recommendation with the report. I would look for a motion to note and receive, and further that council authorize the warden and chief administrative officer to sign the contract with Medivy Health Services. Do I have a mover? Alternate Willis, so moved, seconded by Councillor Davison. Any comments from council? Call the question. All in favor? Motion is passed. Next item is delegation of authority bylaw. And we would look for a motion to pass this bylaw with 3 readings. Do I have a mover? Deputy Warden Fritsch, so moved, seconded by Councillor Calver. All in favor? Motion is passed. Bylaw conveyance of surplus road allowance. Again, I'd look for a motion to pass this bylaw with 3 readings. Councillor Richardson, seconded by Councillor Davison. All in favor? Motion is passed. And I would take a motion for the confirmation of proceedings. Alternate Lalonde and Councillor Calver. All in favor? Motion is passed. And the one we've been looking for, a motion to adjourn. Councillor Calver, Councillor Richardson. All in favor? Motion is passed. We are adjourned at 9:09.